because there are times when we have to face adversity in order to run our schedule, there's a tremendous spirit of pulling together as a unit of people, which I find very, very enjoyable, because we're together a lot, we work a lot, we tour a lot, which of course puts the orchestra together in lots of situations, and we just have a tremendous spirit of friendship and pulling together. Plus, of course, I love the Royal Philharmonic Orchestra because I find it just such a wonderful bunch of musicians. We have some fantastic players, and we have a great tradition of playing together. And of course, to have at the helm Charles Dutoit and Pinker Zuckerman is a real treat for the orchestra. I've always understood as something that is particularly characteristic of the London orchestras. The British musicians appear to be well known across the world for being very, very quick, possibly because in a lot of situations we have to be very quick. I think also, I can't speak for the Japanese system, but also in Britain, because we've always had a very comprehensive system of youth orchestras. I think British musicians grow up being used to, totally used to playing in orchestras anyway. It's a sort of a way of life for the British musician. So it's something that we've done since we were kids. It's a natural thing to do. I absolutely love working with Maestro Dutoit. Do you know, it seems quite rare nowadays that you come across a conductor who has such a depth of knowledge right across the whole repertoire. And I find still, although I've worked with Maestro Dutoit a lot now, I still find myself marvelling at just the depth of his experience and his knowledge. And it's also quite rare to meet a conductor who knows how to balance an orchestra by just adjusting the levels of different parts of the orchestra that are playing together. You find that there are new sounds that are coming from a piece that you thought you knew, and yet there are new sounds coming because now he adjusts the balance. We had a whole day, 6 hours, that's our normal day of rehearsals, with him on Symphonie Fantastique. And I know a lot of my colleagues were saying that's just one of the best days of rehearsal I can remember, because that day Charles had 2 large scores, different editions of the piece with him, and he was going from one to the other because he knew which bits of this score were right, which bits of this score were right, and we were going into such detail about this music that it's always rewarding for a musician when you come across a piece that you think you know, and someone can show that there's so much of it you don't know yet, and that is the biggest, I think, the biggest thrill for an orchestral musician with, and Charles is able to do that. And particularly, I'm looking forward to when we come to Tokyo. We're going to be performing some what is it? It's Daphnis and Chloe and La Mer, and on French music he's got to be completely unsurpassable, I think. French music in particular, and the balance I'm thinking of that I was talking about was at the beginning of La Mer, where you have, I think you have a bass drum and you have the basses holding a long note, and somehow there became a new sound that Charles wanted. And previous times I played La Mer and you just start it and okay, so it's bass drum and it's basses, but this time we had a new sound because of the combination of the two, and that's the kind of thing that seems to be happening all the time in rehearsals. I have toured Japan before, but many years ago, and I know that many of my colleagues in the RPO have played in Japan more recently than that. But certainly I can say, and I'm sure I speak for them too, I'm looking forward to playing to Japanese audiences, because they seem to me to be so knowledgeable and discerning and enthusiastic, and it's all I can say is I'm really looking forward to getting back to Tokyo and to playing for the audiences here.